Good to see you. Welcome back. This is Global News Morning, and this is the time of week we like to hook up with our good friend Matt Lee. Good morning, Matt. We're talking home renos, the do's and don'ts, and talk
Yeah,
us through maybe just in the past 5 years the difference between how much things cost then and how much things cost
yeah,
now.
yeah. I'm going to generalize a little bit, but I mean, if you went back 3, 4 years ago, a 2x4 could have cost anywhere from $2.50 to three and a quarter for an 8 foot 2x4, and then over the COVID times where everybody was building their own decks and supply got short and different things happened, it went up to as high as $11 for a 2x4. So we're looking at costs, and really what we want to talk about is when you're doing a reno on your house. I think that what you want to do is you want to establish a realistic budget. And I think whether you're doing it yourself or you're hiring it in, I think that we have to keep in mind that your material costs have either doubled or tripled over the past 2 or 3 years. And I think that that's something that is key to when we're talking about doing a reno. You might have talked to a friend that said, I did this reno and it cost me $50,000 3 years ago. Well, that's not even going to be in the same ballpark today. You've got a labor shortage, which means that they're likely being paid more, which means that that's going to cost more. And then you've got material costs that have gone up so much more. So we have to really look at this and we have to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I need to get a quote. I need to get multiple quotes. And I need to look at this and see how much it's actually going to cost.
First things first, got to get a permit.
That's right. So you really, there's no skirting this. I would say basically you have to get the permit. You have to get it in place. You're going to need somebody probably to draw it, and you're going to have to go to the city or the township and get that permit. Because if you go outside the lines or you don't do something proper, then first of all, they're going to freeze your work, and then second of all, if it's not done to their specs, they're going to make you tear it down,
Ooh.
and there's no way around that.
And if you're in a condo, yeah, seek. You have to get approval from the condo corporation. And once everything is done, let your insurance company know.
That's right. So there's a couple different things that are happening with an insurance company here. One is, are the guys insured that are working on the job site while they're there? Because they're on your property, they're working for you, and if they get hurt, what happens? Is the company or the individual, are they insured? So there's an insurance side to that while they're there. And then the other side of the thing, we've actually talked about this in the past. Unfortunately, sometimes a house burns down, and you want to make sure that the insurance company knows that you've finished the basement or you've done an addition, and it cost X amount of dollars to build. 100,000, 200,000, whatever it was. It's expanding your footprint or expanding your square footage, which they need to know about. So you get, once you get to completion, or even when you get into construction, because maybe you can have a construction insurance in there as well. So you mean basically get in touch with the insurance company while this is going on and make sure you're covered. God forbid something happen.
We talk about materials. You get what you pay for. So inexpensive
Yeah,
materials versus,
yeah,
a little bit more expensive materials, but it's worth it.
that's right. So you can order stuff online. There are websites that you can get things that might not meet the code
Mm.
here, electrical being one of them. I mean, there's a certain stamp that they need to have on it. I'm sure there is for plumbing as well. And when you start to deal with these things, if it's not actually a product that has been approved, then I don't know that that insurance company covers that. I think that that's something that you really need to look into if you're trying to buy cheap products. And the other side of it is that if you're spending a lot of money on a reno and you're buying a very inexpensive material, how long is that actually going to last? And I think that's a question that people have to ask too. If you want it to look nice for the next 3 years, great. Like that's going to probably look okay. But the wear and tear on something that's less expensive could potentially cost you again down the road if this is a rental for yourself and you're looking at it for long term.
You advise to get quotes.
Yeah, I think that getting quotes, anytime somebody comes to a real estate person, they've likely had two or three people in because they're picking who they think they want to work with,
Hmm.
what the cost value of it is. There's all this. So I think in any type of business, you get a quote. You have somebody come in and they say, okay, well, I think it's going to cost X because, and they lay out what they're doing. And it's not always the cheapest quote that's going to be the best. A detailed quote so you can see what it is, make sure that maybe things weren't missed, and that it's not going to creep up later on. I think that you have to really look at these things, and really dive into it so that you and work with somebody that you really jive with.
Always important to do research. Words of wisdom, as always, Matt Lee. We thank you so much. Be well and take care.
You too. Thank you.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.